Good afternoon, MagicCon Philadelphia. Welcome to the main stage. Riley Knight is my name. I am your host. I'll be taking care of you throughout this afternoon. But right now, we are going to get underway with our first panel of the day. And I'm very excited to welcome to the stage to introduce the rest of the Vorthos Cast. My friends, please join me in welcoming Jay and Ellie, our lore master from the Vorthos Cast. Here he comes right now. Please put your hands together for Jay and Ellie.
Hello. Hello, and welcome to the Vorthos Cast Live. If you all do not know what the Vorthos Cast is, I forgive you, it's okay. It is a Magic Story podcast. We have been running for 5 years now. And yeah, every week we get together to talk about Magic Story stuff. And this is the first time I've seen all these people in 3 years, 4 years, just about?
A little over 3.
In person, at least. I've heard your voices all the time. Yeah. So I'm Jay and Ellie. I am the consulting lore master for Wizards of the Coast. I also do creative text for them, and I write art books. My latest, Magic the Gathering: The Visual Guide, is out.
I'm Lorelei Weissel-Labrizzi. I am a freelance games writer. I do a lot of work with Wizards of the Coast, mostly creative text. I'm on the upcoming March on the Machine, so I hope you all enjoy that set. I also write the Planeswalker VO for MTG Arena, so if you've heard all those little quips since War of the Spark, that's me. You're welcome.
I'm Brian Dawes. I've been playing Magic since roughly Invasion, and I like to wear cheese on my head every once in a while.
Solid.
I'm Crystalano. I'm consulting lore master and author. Sorry, I get mixed up a lot. I'm Crystalano. I won the Amonkhet Game Day. Got to play Matt at home, and I'm just happy to be here.
I'm Carrie Thomas. I'm a fan story cataloger for MTGlore.com. Happy to be here.
All right, and today we are going to be talking about the road to March of the Machine. So if you've fallen off Magic Story, or you just want like a quick recap, you're going to be here for a little while, about everything that's happened since War of the Spark, this is the place to be. So let's talk about what happened in the aftermath of War of the Spark. Gideon Jura is dead, the greatest hero in the multiverse, the tactical leader of the Gatewatch. He's gone now. Liliana Vess has gone into hiding. We don't know where she went. She's under an assumed name. Nicol Bolas is alive, and only Jason Ugin know. Kaya has joined the Gatewatch, and she's honestly going to be very central to the story going forward. She's going to be pulling a lot of it. And Tezzeret has escaped once again with the planar bridge with him, and I'm sure he will cause no problems whatsoever for anybody.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Nothing bad will happen.
That's probably nothing.
So let's talk first about what happened in the first story after War of the Spark.
All right, so our first set after is the Throne of Eldraine with the story. There was the Wildered Quest by Kate Elliott, a novella. I had a really clever segue here, unfortunately got banned. Eldraine is this plane of two worlds. There's the realm of knights and castles led by a high king, and then the wilds, mystical forests and mountains and swamps filled with witches and mythological creatures and fairies and tricksters. And this set reintroduces us to our two main characters, Rowan and Will Kenrith, princess and prince, because their dad's king, which is pretty sweet for them. Rowan's an electromancer who charges her sword with sparks, and Will is a cryomancer who sends freezing slashes through his enemies. And they're having a good time until this guy named Oko shows up. He is this shape-shifting Fey planeswalker, and yeah, shake the fist. Oko's great. He's a good villain.
He's here to ruin the format of the game.
He is mind-controlled, a cursed Garruk under his thrall. And Oko's here to sow a little chaos. He turns the High King Alginus into an elk and sends him off into the wilds. And this adventure starts with Rowan and Will having to go on this mythical quest to save their old pop. And they do save the day. Along the way, Garrick goes from villain to hero as he's cured by the Cauldron of Eternity and removes the curse that Liliana placed on him. And he kind of assumes this father figure role over Rowan and Will. And at the end of the story, they learned that their birth mother was a witch. And Rowan's not very happy about this. And starts to ignite her Planeswalker spark. Unfortunately for Will, they share this spark, and when Rowan is whisked off to the blind eternities, he goes zoop, following her, and kind of starting their little heroic quest through the multiverse. And Garrick follows to make sure they don't get themselves killed. This set is also neat because it establishes Eldraine as the post-crisis chill vibes only plane, because we're going to get another Eldraine set after March of the Machine, which is very amusing to me.
Yeah. I also think we need to get that sound effect canonized, the whoop, whenever they walk together. I love that. But next we take a detour to... Did I go too far?
No.
Oh,
No.
All right. Next we have a kind of important story that... You know, I think we've all read the story summary. But Carrie, can you tell us a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, Theros Beyond Death brings us back to the world of Theros, of Greek gods and Greek myth, but also to the #1 Phyrexia hater, Elspeth Tyrell. She has had nightmares about New Phyrexia ever since she grew up in New Capenna under a Phyrexian outpost that had still taken hold there before everything there was cleaned up. And in her immediate past, she had been betrayed by the god Heliod on Theros after serving him to kill Xenagos, and also killed the love of her life, Daxos, induced by a nightmare where she was fighting a Phyrexian obliterator.
Oops.
Yeah, not the best
It happens.
situation.
We've all been there.
Yeah,
Rip
we've all been
Daxos.
there.
But now she is facing those nightmares once more under a new threat, Ashiok, the Nightmare Weaver. Ashiok is tormenting Elspeth in the underworld. Elspeth is able to fight back a little bit, and everything in the underworld of Theros is a little more material with Ashiok's magic, and so she is able to grab the Shadow Sphere, which is from Ashiok's visions, and make it a reality. Now, Elspeth is being hunted in the underworld as she's trying to escape by Calyx, who is an agent of fate, and also later by Heliod, who really, really doesn't want, the one person he did send to the underworld to come back and kill him again. So she uses the Shadow Sphere, which gains strength through the belief in the underworld. And once she's finally fighting Heliod, Heliod is on an uneven playing field because everybody in the underworld knows the tale of Elspeth and the Shadow Sphere, and nobody really cares about Heliod, let's be honest. So she is able to handily defeat him. She escapes the underworld and lives happily ever after, never to face Phyrexia again,
I mean, she's never has to go through another trauma in her life. Yeah,
No.
Erebos has let her leave with a shiny new body.
But meanwhile, Ashiok has taken her knowledge of Phyrexia from Elspeth Tyrell's dreams and headed over to the Fair Basilica on New Phyrexia. And in the Fair Basilica, she meets the mother of Machine, Elish Norn, and gives her a little scare about a fabled hero who may defeat her, Elspeth Tyrell.
What a lovely thing that probably won't ever matter later, right?
No.
Allegedly.
But let's take a side trip to my favorite plane of the last few years, Monster Island.
Yeah. Welcome to Ikoria, the land of monsters. We find ourselves introduced to a new hero, Luca, who has just survived a monster attack. He's the only surviving member of his team, and there seem to be mysterious circumstances around his survival. He is brought back to Drannith and interrogated, and it's discovered he is a bonder. That's a no-no for Drannith, so he makes his escape, and as he's getting close to being captured on his way out of the city, he's aided by Vivian Reed, and they make their way out into the wilds. And she kind of goes with him as he's on this kind of vision quest to kind of discover what it is to be a bonder. But he kind of comes to the wrong conclusions with the determination that, hey, monsters are weapons, and I think I'm going to use this time to use these monsters to take over people who can't defend themselves from my might. So yeah, this horrifies Vivian, who is just there to try to figure out if this is a world where monsters or beasts and humanoids can work in peace with nature, and yeah, this is not that plane.
No.
So she fails on that quest, but she is able to help Jarina Kudrow, Luca's fiancée and the daughter of the leader of the city of Draneth, to repel Luca's assault with the help of the other bonders on the plane. And when Luca is facing inevitable defeat, he tries to draw on too much power from sources of mana on the plane, and he planeswalks for the first time, which is fortunate for everyone involved.
Yes.
Yeah. Glad we didn't have to see any more of that guy.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, he's
well,
gone for a while.
Hopefully he's gone forever and we never see him again.
It's just like, wow, cool weapons. All right, so let's talk about our big return, our second big return of the post-war era, Zendikar Rising. So up until now, each set on Zendikar was very focused in the past, in the Eldrazi, or in the present, in the Eldrazi again. Zendikar Rising is the set that establishes Zendikar moving forward. Unfortunately for Zendikar, it has two planeswalkers who believe they're both its true guardian, and they both know what's best for the plane. And so while Nahiri and Nissa sort of get off on the right foot, they quickly realize they want very different things. Nissa believes the current wild mana Zendikar is what it's meant to be. She's connected to the soul of the world. Like, she knows what it wants. Nahiri, however, no, I made a mistake. All this is a mistake, and I need to fix it. She wants to put Zendikar back to where it was before she imprisoned the Eldrazi. So Nissa goes to find her old friend Jace for help, who isn't too busy anymore now that he's no longer the living Gatewatch. Meanwhile, Nahiri begins adventuring into these skyclaves. These are giant stone floating fortresses that were built back in her heyday by the ancient core empire, by her people, thousands of years ago before they fell. And they've all, after the Eldrazi leave, they've all risen to the surface again, or are floating in the air. She's going after something called the Lithoform core, which she wants to terraform the plane back into what it used to be. And she enlists the help of an adventuring party to get it, and then betrays them and pushes Zareth San off a cliff.
That's your fault, Jay.
It's not my fault.
It's your fault, Jay. You killed Zareth San.
I did not know. If you want to blame somebody, come back at, 1:30? Yeah, then they're the people you can blame for that. I am innocent. I am just an accomplice. So
That doesn't make you innocent.
Allegedly.
Nissa and Jace go to confront her, but Jace's efforts at, he's trying to be a peacekeeper. They're still very much in their WWGD phase. What would Gideon do? And it doesn't work out. It ends with both of the other planeswalkers angry at him. Nissa, with the help of the elementals summoned from the plane, is able to defeat Nahiri and destroy the Lithoform core. And everyone leaves upset. No one is happy at these circumstances. Well, let's bring it to some people who are happy with their circumstances, like that guy in the middle right there. You want to tell us about Kaldheim?
So Kaldheim is Magic's answer to Norse mythology. There's this cosmos tree at the center of the world that connects 10 realms that are usually separate, but occasionally pathways called omen paths open up between them, and occasionally they collide together in these violent events called doom scars. And our protagonist for this set is Kaya, who's kind of our lead of the Gatewatch. She's kind of our major through-line character for this arc. She is here. She has been hired by a mysterious benefactor, who we later learn is Tezzeret. And she's here to hunt a mysterious monster, who we later learn is Vorinclex. And along the way, she meets Tyvar Kell, Prince of the Elves, his brother's king. He's loving life. He can transmute elements onto his skin and share that power with other people. He thinks everything is great. He's a himbo, just looking for a good fight. And he sure as heck gets one. Doomskars happen more rapidly. They meet up with Nico Aris, our first human non-binary planeswalker, the Fate Scorn, who is destined to be a pro athlete on Theros, and decided, nah, I would like to be this hero elsewhere in the multiverse. And they defeat Tybalt's nefarious plot. And that's all that's going on in the set, right?
That's it. Let's move on to the next slide.
That's everything?
Let's move on to the next slide. Oh, wait.
So at the end of this story, it's revealed Tybalt isn't causing all this chaos because he's some brilliant evil mastermind now. He's still kind of a doofus and has been hired by Vorinclex to cause chaos and create these Doomskars. And these huge battles are a distraction so that Vorinclex, praetor of New Phyrexia, can sneak to the World Tree and steal its sap. And he gets zooped back through the planar bridge.
Another canon sound effect I need. We need to make that happen.
I can't write all the canon sound effects.
Yeah, no.
That's so much work, Jay. There's so much weird fantasy stuff that happens. And so Vorinclex absconds with the sap of the World Tree, bringing it back to Phyrexia. And I'm sure that will be fine and nothing nefarious will come of this.
No.
Yeah, it'll work out.
Nothing bad will happen. So the first step of Elish Norn's plan was to steal this sap of the World Tree, and I'm sure a magical substance that connects different realms will not be important.
It's probably just a really good moisturizer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it tastes really good. That's why.
Put it on waffles.
So anyway, let's take a break from this definitely not ominous story and go back to school.
Yeah, we're going to travel to the plane of Arcavios, where the school Strixhaven is, School of Mages. Strixhaven has a variety of students and a variety of staff. Students including Will and Rowan Kinrith, and there's a new teacher on staff named Professor Onyx. We've never seen her before in any way, shape, or form. You know, she's brand new, and we welcome her to the Managed Universe. And yeah. So she's there, and Will and Rowan are trying to learn about themselves and what makes them tick as wizards of sorts, and they're going about it in two very different ways. But they're having a good time learning, and all of a sudden Luca shows up on the plane. I really hope we weren't going to see that guy again. You know, it's kind of disappointing. But
I think this is the last time. I think after this we're done with Luca.
I hope so. I really
think
do.
so.
But he shows up, and he runs afoul of the local Dragon's Guard, which is the constabulary of the area, and is saved by the Auric, which is a mysterious cabal of wizards who wants to see Strixhaven destroyed, essentially. After escaping and working with the Auric, he works and takes over control of a number of beasts called mage hunters that are really good at killing mages.
Very descriptive. Yeah.
It's kind of it's par for the course. This guy's just awful. So they assault the school. Will and Rowan Kinrith decide that, hey, this seems like a distraction, and Professor Onyx comes to a similar conclusion. They rush to the center of the school where the Blood Avatar is, and Professor Onyx doesn't really help anything, and she gets blasted. She gets them too close to the Blood Avatar before she's kind of blown away. But Will and Rowan are able to defeat the Blood Avatar, and everything's good. Professor Onyx resumes living her life as Liliana Vess.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's
Whoa.
surprising.
Professor Onyx is Liliana Vess.
Yes, I know. It's shocking. Yes.
I see a
Who let her be
similarity.
faculty?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know what their vetting process is, but it probably needs to be checked. But yeah, she resumes living her life at Liliana Vess and is teaching all these students necromancy, which I think is questionable, but you know, I'm just going to let
It's
it
the
slide.
good kind of necromancy, though.
Is it? But yeah, that's the story of Strixhaven.
Okay, and we are not going to see Luca again after this, for sure. So let's talk about another happy story. This one is about a festival, right? We go to like a carnival, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, there is a festival. So we are returning to Innistrad. It's my favorite plane of all time. It's one of the fan favorite planes. And we're here for a double feature, back-to-back, Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow. So I'm going to start us off with Midnight Hunt first. Turns out, Innistrad's kind of in trouble. The nights are getting longer. The monsters are getting more vicious. The moon is haunted. Moon's
haunted?
Yeah, the moon's haunted.
Okay.
I mean, longer nights means more sleep, right?
Longer nights do mean more sleep, but some of them are going to be sleeping forever.
Oh,
Yeah.
doesn't sound good.
So Arlen Cord, sort of the self-proclaimed protector of Innistrad, goes to the Gatewatch and asks them for help. And they answer her call. She gets help from Teferi, Kaya, and Chandra, who we have not really seen Teferi and Chandra since War of the Spark. They head over to Innistrad and they find out that there's a festival that can turn back the darkness, that can have the sun back on a normal schedule again. I know we're all kind of waiting for that to happen in the real world too. And they need something called the Moon Silver Key, which is a special magical bowl that goes into the center of the ritual and will turn back time. But things don't really go to plan. Our heroes fight until the very end to save the world with a magical bowl and are thwarted by an evil woman. I think that's going to come up again later. We'll cover that. But Midnight Hunt served a really important purpose of reminding us who these characters are. We got Teferi again. He is part of the Gatewatch. He's the most senior member, kind of, and age-wise at least. And he is the most knowledgeable about the Phyrexians, who Kaya has just told him about her meeting of Vorinclex. Teferi also goes on a little adventure with Rin, who we saw in the Modern Horizons set, but this is her story introduction. She's looking for a new tree, and Teferi helps her find one. He learns with her how to untangle some magical mistakes, which I think might be relevant later in the story as well.
There's nothing about magical mistakes that's core to Teferi's character at all.
That is a very big part of his character. And then, very importantly with Midnight Hunt, Chandra gets a girlfriend again. We get Adeline, who, lovely, lovely story. I love Adeline. Hopefully we get to see more of her, hopefully not completed. So after Midnight Hunt, though, we go straight into Crimson Vow.
We're going to a wedding!
We're going to a wedding! It's a great wedding. It's Olivia Voldaren and Edgar Markov, the grandfather of Sorin, who is in this story. He's a very big part of the story. He's mostly here to suffer, but he is in the story. Olivia stole the Moon Silver Key at the end of Midnight Hunt, and she's going to use it as like a punch bowl at her wedding or something. There's a ghost in it, which is kind of important, but turns out you can put ghosts in the bowl. That might be relevant later.
Something old, something new. Yeah.
Something old, something new. Something blue. Blue is the color of spirits on Innistrad.
Okay, there you go.
Makes
That
sense.
works. That works for me.
So our heroes kind of crash the wedding. Some of them show up beautifully dressed. Chandra looks just dressed to kill, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful outfit. They crash the wedding with all the help of Sorin and etc. You know, they kind of win. They actually win for once. They get the Moon Silver Key back. They take it to the ritual site. They perform the ritual. They turn back the sunset. They end up saving Innistrad, and we learn that, hey, the Gatewatch can actually save something. It's been a little while, but they do it. I'm
Been
really
a
proud of
smidge
them.
of time.
It's been a little
Temporarily, at
while.
least.
Temporarily, exactly. But they do win. They turn back the darkness, and it's got a really happy ending.
So let's talk about another story with a really happy ending. Kamigawa. What? Why are you all booing? So let's talk about Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So in Kamigawa, we're reintroduced to this plane over 1,000 years since the last time we saw it. Last time we were in Kamigawa, it was very much a feudal Japan. Now that we've seen it, everything's high tech, and there is ongoing cultural conflict between modernity and technology and tradition on the plane. Now we know a couple planeswalkers from the plane. One of the core ones everyone loves is Tamio. She is a historian, a scientist, a chronicler, and she's also a mom. And she has an adopted boy named Nashi, who is a Nezumi whose village was burnt down by Tezzeret. We keep running into this guy. Well, not by Tezzeret, by Tezzeret's agents. Let's not talk about which agents those were. It's not relevant right now. But we also learned that back in the day, Tezzeret had messed around with the emperor of Kamigawa and did something to her spark. And it made her unable to stay on any one plane for very long. And we learned that the Wanderer, who we had met during War of the Spark, is actually the long-lost emperor of Kamigawa. And Kaito, her childhood friend, who gains a spark after bonding with Himoto, the kami of the spark, who's the adorable little Tanuki robot drone that accompanies him everywhere. He's been searching for her ever since and hasn't been able to find her. So when he's clued in that Tezzeret has returned to the plane and he discovers Tezzeret and Jin Gitaxias, he ends up hunting down more clues. The clues lead him to Nashi and a confrontation with Tamio, who does not want anyone getting near her kid, and who could blame her. But once they realize they're both on the same, they're both on Team Hate Tezzeret, which is pretty much everyone. He's Magic Starscream. Everyone hates him. Loves to hate him. They team up, and together they're able to find an artifact that is able to stabilize the Emperor's spark, at least temporarily. And together they're all able to defeat Jin Gitaxias and Tezzeret. And nothing bad happens in the aftermath of that, right? No?
I have a note here that says something bad does happen after that, actually.
Okay.
Can you elaborate?
So as they flee back through the planar bridge that Tezzeret was able to escape with and was definitely not going to cause trouble with later, they take Tamio with them. And it turns out Jin Gitaxias was experimenting with the kami, the spirits of Kamigawa, in order to better understand the nature of the intangible soul. And using that breakthrough is able to complete a planeswalker, to turn them into a Phyrexian. In the past, planeswalkers, when they were turned into Phyrexians, they would lose their souls and they wouldn't be planeswalkers anymore. But now, Tamio has become the first Phyrexian planeswalker.
All right, and why is this a bad thing?
I said it was a happy ending, didn't I?
No,
did.
this is a horrible.
Brian is the #1 Phyrexian hater on this podcast.
Yeah.
We're just trolling him the entire time.
Not happy about it.
And they start to incorporate all of this into their technology going forward. So they make it easier to complete planeswalkers in the future. So, step 2 of Norn's plan, complete planeswalkers.
Yeah, they just upload the reality chip into the glistening oil, and they're like, all right, firmware's
They updated the
We're good, we're
firmware,
good."
basically,
Yeah.
the magical firmware. So let's talk about a place that feels very close to home for me in Italian on a podcast with 3 Italians.
Yeah, we finally New Capenna. Other than Fiora, we have Italians in a main set. This is great. First story with an actual happy ending. New Capenna is this dome city, stratified vertically, run by 5 demon mafiosos, and the rest of the plane is barren. And we learn the history of this world through Elspeth Terrell. She meets up with her friend Ajani after escaping the underworld, and Ajani says, "Hey, I think I found where you're from. You should go check it out." And she does, and she gets a job in a museum working with one of the crime families. And she learns the history of this plane, that it was invaded by Phyrexians long ago. But unlike a lot of places, they won through this sacrifice of the plane's angels to create a magical substance called Halo, which greatly amplifies the magical powers of whoever uses it. And there's also a potent weapon against specifically Phyrexians. Elspeth eventually meets up with Vivian Reed, who is once again here to look for worlds where civilization and nature can coexist peacefully. She doesn't find that here, but she does find our good friend who keeps showing up everywhere on every side, Tezzeret. And he brings her to the Red Praetor of New Phyrexia, Urabrask. And this is not part of Norn's plan. Urabrask is here on his own because he has the fire of rebellion in his heart. He doesn't like Elish Norn. He doesn't like how she runs things. He wants to build a revolution against her, and he wants potent allies. He has heard of this Elspeth Terrell, and so he's on New Capenna investigating Halo and trying to figure out a plan so that he can take over Phyrexia and run things his way. And so Vivian and Elspeth get caught up in this whole plot, saving this young girl, Giada, who turns out to be an angel, the first one that New Capenna has seen in a very long time. And the Halo starts flowing again. And Elspeth and Vivian learn about the Phyrexians and are like, hey, we have an ally within Phyrexia. We can, if we hurry, we can, find the Gatewatch, get our allies together. There's hope here. We have a weapon, we have timing, we're starting to get people involved, and there's real thoughts about, hey, we can win this war and stop Phyrexia before they ruin everything. And I'm sure that's what they do, right?
So it goes, 100%.
Yeah, right.
We're never sarcastic in this podcast.
Not at all.
Not at all. I do have one issue with something you said, though. They
What?
are legitimate business families.
No.
It's only crime if you get caught.
There's no police, anyway. All right, so let's return to a fan favorite plane in Dominaria United, where someone else who is central to the new Phyrexian story is searching for something. Brian, do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so we find ourselves at the beginning of Dominaria United where Karn is on a quest. He's searching for something important. He's looking for notes on the Silex. Which Silex? We're not really sure which Silex it is, but
There's like 4 if you read all of Magic. Yeah.
he has a Silex. He just wants to know how to use it so he can blow that new Phyrexia place to smithereens, which is the right course of action. Just want to say, all these Phyrexian things, we got to get rid of that. So he's looking for how Urza knew or what he did to activate the Silex. So he's mining the caves of Koilos, and he finds something, but it's not what he was looking for. He's looking for these notes on the Silex, and instead he finds a whole invasion already happening. He finds Rona fixing Shieldred in the caves of Koilos, and he's like, no, this cannot stand. He's just going to start destroying things. But Rona and Shieldred get the drop on him, stop him from being able to planeswalk, and they drop a cave on him. He's stuck there for months, and until Jo'ira gets wise to the fact that, hey, he hasn't moved in a while. Ajani, go find him and get him for me. So Ajani saves him very kindly with a nice leonine smile.
Not suspicious, whatever.
Doesn't show his teeth, though. Not that time.
Exactly.
Not that time.
And they go back to Benalia, and they are trying to tell everyone, hey, this Phyrexian invasion is already happening. Everyone get together and let's fight this. They're like, well, we need to figure this whole thing out between Benalia and Keld, and we'll get to it when this is resolved. And then a Phyrexian sleeper agent is in the room, like, yeah, this isn't gonna happen. So they kill this assassin / disruptor. And like, okay, Karn, you may have a point here. And Teferi shows up, and there's Phyrexians, like everyone's, we gotta go, we gotta do this. So they rally Dominaria and unite Dominaria. And there are lots of battles going on around the plane as Phyrexians are making their moves, sowing discontent, and it all leads to the mana rig. Karn has stowed the Silex on the mana rig in secret, so he sends Jaya to go get it while they're prepping to blow this thing up, while in case the Phyrexians get enough stronghold to capture it, because we don't want them to have extra power stones. It's just a bad idea. So Jaya gets the Silex and is coming out, and Ajani is giving her helping hand right over the edge of the boat. Yeah, Johnny's been
a little too soon for that, Brian.
Yeah, Johnny's been completed, and it's a bad look for everybody involved. But fortunately, Jaya also had the plans for the Silex, so that after Ajani had destroyed it, Sahili was able to recreate it. So we kind of were in the same place where we started, looking for how to activate this newly created Silex to stop the Phyrexian invasion.
So what we all thought was the beginnings of a real Phyrexian invasion was just another step in Norn's plans. They have completed the Weatherlight. They have kidnapped Karn, both pieces of the original legacy weapon that defeated Yawgmoth.
Oh, it's right over there. It looks fine.
Oh, it looks okay. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. They have managed to rescue the Weatherlight Power Stone, though. They're going to need that in a minute. The Sarah's Realm Power Stone. They have destroyed the Silex and basically went to the plane to get rid of everything that had helped stop Phyrexia in the past, so that there'd be nothing in their way. So they've removed all the obstacles.
But there is one thread of hope. Lies in the past, Dominaria's past. One of Urza's original 9 Titans.
Whoa.
No. We're not dealing.
Next slide.
Go.
Next slide.
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
or one of the 9 Titans may have been an overstatement. He was drafted and never served. But Teferi is here, and he is alongside Saheeli and Kaya, throwing his spirit back in the time. He has to go back to the moment of Urza's ignition of the Silex in order to figure out those launch codes and take it back to the present, use it on the tree, defeat Phyrexia once and for all before they're able to spread their scourge across even more of the multiverse.
They threw his spirit back in time. Did they like have like a magical bowl they could put his ghost in or something?
Well,
Was
they did
that
use
part
the
of it?
helpful tool from earlier, the Moon
Yeah.
Silver Key.
There
With
has
the
to
Moon
have
Silver
some kind of
Key.
sale on magical bowls or something. I need one of these.
They're just useful.
There's
I think
just a lot of them.
have more on hand, I think.
Some good soup.
With the Moon Silver Key and Sarah's Power Stone that they rescued from the Weatherlight, they are able to build the Temporal Anchor. Teferi loads himself in, takes a couple of stabs at trying to get himself to the right point in Dominaria history. Takes a little bit. But while that is happening, while they're running their test runs of the Temporal Anchor, the Urza's tower that they are housed in is being besieged by Rona and all of Sheoldred's forces on Dominaria. So we have some heroes show up. Elspeth Tyrell fighting Phyrexia for 3rd time in a row. I'm sure there won't be a 4th. And we are able to successfully push back those forces with the help of Joda and some others who are in attendance. But Teferi is able to successfully get back to the ignition point, and he's gone. Where'd he go? His spirit has been disconnected from his body in the temporal anchor, and Teferi's spirit is lost in time. Kaya thinks she has the correct instructions in order to activate the Silex, but back in Urza's tower, after the Phyrexian assault has ended, Tezzeret arrives. Turns out playing both sides a little too hard doesn't work out for everybody in the end, and Tezzeret is trying to tacitly aid the Gatewatch and the Strike team in their next assault on New Phyrexia.
Can't let the Phyrexians run up the score and win too
many times, yeah. All he needs is his body, and then he's out of here.
Exactly.
It's like, whoops, I'm playing both sides a little too hard.
So Teferi is disconnected from the rest of reality, never to return. Actually, I think he's just gone for good.
He does wake up on a mysterious beach.
They're phasing him out of the story for a little while.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Oh,
No, that's the
is this the right slide?
Yeah.
All right. So we also learned that the Gatewatch, everyone we haven't been seeing, hasn't been idle in the background. They have been building a group of allies in order to take down New Phyrexia. And surprise, it's a lot of the planeswalkers we have met along this journey.
And Vraska.
It's and Vraska
She's here.
and Koth, yeah. So Vraska, because we didn't talk about her story yet, she is the queen of the Golgari. She is a master assassin. She is a pirate captain. She is just all around awesome. And she's also dating Jace Beleren. And the last time they split up before a giant interplanar threat happened, it didn't work out too well for anyone. So she's not going to let him go alone this time. So she joins in with the Strike team. And then when they get to New Phyrexia, they also join up with Koth, who we have not seen in a decade of real time, except for that one Phyrexian arena art, just to prove a proof of life that Wizards of the Coast gave us quite a few years ago.
Yeah, so we were given this image of the 10 planeswalkers before the one story started, and we were told 5 of them would be completed, and then also immediately given an uncompleted Koth. So,
It's like, please do not kill us. We will not do this to you.
which was good.
All right.
Got it. There we
we
go. So we delve into the story of Phyrexia All Will Be One, which is the most recent story. So most of you have had a chance to read it. If you haven't had a chance to read it, spoiler alert, I guess. You're gonna, yeah, it's a little late for that.
It's a little late.
It's a little late
for that.
So our Strike team, plus Elspeth Tyrell, because she joins them, kind of an unexpected addition at the last minute, minus Koth from that previous image, because they're meeting him there, they go to New Phyrexia. And Elish Norn was kind of expecting them. I wonder if Tezzeret played a part in that at all. And she's put up a barrier, and stuff goes south real quick. All of their planeswalks get kind of a little interrupted. Nissa and Luca, who for some reason is here, he and her, they get put right into the Hunter's Maze, which is Vorinclex's realm, and they get got pretty much immediately. Vraska's nowhere to be found. She planeswalks there. They don't know where she ends up.
She'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm sure she's okay. It's probably nothing. And then the Wanderer is really struggling to stay on plane. So from the very beginning, they have a lot of problems. They do manage to sort of gather up together on the Furnace Lair. They meet with Koth, who comes back to the story for the first time in 11, 12 years? He's been gone for a really long time. He's finally here. Elspeth and Koth have a wonderful moment of meeting each other again. While they were getting there, Nahiri got a little scratch on her neck. I'm sure she's fine. Phyrexians are not known to infect with just a little bit of oil. You got to have a lot, right?
It's probably nothing.
Probably nothing. They do manage to start their pathway to the Fair Basilica. They're hoping to get to the core of Phyrexia, and things do not go very well. They get down to the Dross Pits, Sheoldred's realm, the realm of black mana, and they find the Phyrexian Arena, the Phyrexian Arena, the one Koth was in, and Vraska's there. Yay!
We can rescue her.
She's fully infected at this point. Jace does not want to leave her behind. Of course, you wouldn't want to leave the love of your life there to suffer. So she really quickly infects him too, and they make their way out. Nahiri, knowing that her time is about to come to an end, makes a very noble sacrifice. Nahiri sacrificing something is a big character moment, and drops the entire Phyrexian Arena through the floor into the Fair Basilica, into Elesh Norn's realm. Our heroes are actually helped here. There's a moment of hope. Urabrask, good guy Urabrask, his rebellion has started. They're fighting all of Elesh Norn's troops. Well, I want to say good guy Urabrask, but let's be clear, none of the Phyrexians are good guys. None of them.
He just wants to be less evil in a different way.
Yeah,
that's the conflict.
The less
choice.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But he's causing a distraction, and our heroes make their way deep into Phyrexia toward the seed core of this world tree that Elesh Norn has been growing. And there's just a little bit of a barrier in the way. Ajani is there, and Tybalt, who's been completed and looks really cool. And we've got a slide for this.
I'm working on it.
We're working
in the meantime, there's a very awesome line where Tyvar and Kaito respect Nahiri's sacrifice, and Kaito just says, "I just hope she's dead."
Yeah, she is the oldest, most ancient planeswalker they have on their team, and she is the most deadly one. But that's fine. She sacrifices herself, so I mean, it's okay.
She'll never get sword hands.
No, she'll never get sword hands. Oh, my badge is away. Okay, good. You won't see that spoiler. So they get to the seed core, and Ajani's there, and Tybalt is there, and Elspeth fights Ajani, her old mentor and best friend, really, and they have to fight it out. And Tybalt just kind of wrecks, Tyvar kind of wrecks Tybalt. He's a little, he's kind of a doofus.
It's really hard to invoke despair in someone who just runs on pure himbo energy.
Yeah. Tyvar just throws him off a bridge, so rest in peace, Tybalt. I guess he's probably dead forever, because you never recover after just being thrown off a bridge. Meanwhile, the other remaining heroes, Kaido, Kaya, and Jace, because, by the way, Koth found Karn, and he noped out of there because he's smart. He got away from the seed core with Karn's body. But Kaito, Kaya, and Jace go into the seed core, and Jace is ready to set off that Sylex because, one, he's full of grief. Two, this is bad. This is a really bad situation. He's got the Sylex. He's ready to set it off. Kaya has told him how to do it. But there's a problem. Realmbreaker has already connected to, a lot of planes, and they don't know what's going to happen. If you set off a Sylex on one plane, it devastates it. Imagine setting off a Sylex connected to all the planes.
Last time a Sylex detonated, it affected 12 other planes, ushered in an ice age, and prevented planeswalkers from entering or leaving forever, and created a giant scar in the universe. So what could go wrong?
Yeah,
absolutely nothing. Let's do it. Get rid of the Phyrexians. Let's go.
Jace is ready to just end everything, all of existence. He's ready to go. The love of his life is gone. Kaya and Kaito don't feel the same way, so they get into a little bit of fight, but Jace manages to distract them long enough to activate the Sylex. And as he's activating it, Elspeth has defeated Ajani. She's knocked him out. She runs in. She sees what's happening. She stabs Jace in the heart with Luxior, her Halo-powered blade, takes the Sylex, and I need a sound effect.
Yoink!
Why are you looking? I can't.
She gets yoinked out of there.
She yoinks out of there with the
Whoosh,
Silex in hand as it's exploding. So good luck to Elspeth. Anyone ever planeswalked with an exploding nuke in their hand? Probably doesn't end well. And now, guess what? Elish Norn shows up, and once again our heroes fight to the very end to save the world with a magical bowl before an evil woman interrupts them. I did this before, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
You
That
did.
was
Yeah,
Midnight
yeah,
Hunt.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's the same deal.
All right, so the last piece of Norn's plan, it is the the invasion tree, Realmbreaker, has begun connecting to other planes to New Phyrexia, so that New Phyrexia can invade everywhere at once. They're not after just Dominaria like old Phyrexia was, at least at the time. They want everything. So step 4, profit.
No.
There we go.
Step 4, invasion. There we go.
Not much better, but I'll take it.
Our heroes have been defeated. So we have lost 8 planeswalkers to Phyrexia.
One of them, can you really lose Tybalt? You have to want him to be
so
there.
maybe they
first.
discarded down to 7. We lost 7 planeswalkers and also Tybalt. So Tamio, Ajani, Nahiri, Luca, who was there because they lost Gideon, and he's the only planeswalker with small unit military experience.
He's literally a red shirt. I mean, a
Yeah, I
copper
mean,
coat.
okay.
He did see a creature, and that was like, I can do that. I can take you.
Hey, cool weapon. We lost Vraska, Nissa, Jace, and, Tybalt, who had been seeded. Captured in the Seedcore was Tyvar, Kaya, and Kaito. And Himoto is still safe, as far as we know. I want everyone to be clear that Pompon-chan is okay for now.
They coated him in hex gold. He's probably fine. I don't think the oil will get in.
Probably fine.
Okay.
Missing, Teferi has woken up on a shore that seems pretty familiar. Would you say so?
Yeah, I think so. I think we actually got a story about this.
So he wakes up in Zhalfir.
Yeah.
And Zhalfir, who had been preparing for the last Phyrexian invasion, he's just kind of aimless there. He's like, oh, well, at least I'm here, but I'm lost. The multiverse might be lost outside. Who knows what's happening? Until the Wanderer, who Elish Norn's trap affected her worst of all, kind of got shunted into wherever Teferi was, too, and warns them that the invasion is still ongoing. And they realize maybe the multiverse needs Zhalfir. And also Elspeth, who grabbed a magical nuke and planeswalked to who knows where. So who knows what's going to happen with that one.
Godspeed, yeah, Elspeth.
He'll be fine.
I mean, I know, but yeah.
You know what happens. That's for sure.
And then we have the backup team, those who were on Dominaria during the Brothers' War story, and who are all going to reconvene and wait for news. We have Chandra Nalar, or Chandra. We have Ren and Seven, and we have Professor Onyx, right? No, Liliana Vest. I'm sorry, that was
Just
the reveal.
Liliana now.
That was just Liliana.
Yeah. And hopefully they can protect Dominaria long enough for them to survive another Phyrexian invasion.
It's just like a Tuesday for them at this point, though.
Yeah.
All right, so step 1, steal the sap of the world tree. Step 2, complete planeswalkers. Step 3, remove obstacles to their invasion. And step 4, invasion. Our heroes have lost, and Phyrexia is invading the multiverse.
Yay!
Boo.
The march of the machine has begun. So Lorelei and I can't speculate on what's happening, but the rest of the cast here, we usually go to them for their opinions on what's coming up next. Sometimes they're good opinions, sometimes not so much. But Brian, what do you think's going to happen next?
Merit Lade shows up to save the day. Let's go.
It's never Merit Lage.
Except in the Boom comics, and except when we got the preview card.
We did.
It's also not Imrakul. I'm just going to point that out. I think Zhalfir is going to save the day. I do think Teferi is going to bring them back. They're ready for an invasion. It is the time for Zhalfir to finally fight back a Phyrexian invasion.
And Carrie, what do you think?
I don't know where that nuke's going. That planeswalking nuke is a little suspicious. Will it blow Zhalfir back into place? Who knows? Will it go to Zelfir and blow everybody up there? That'd be pretty tragic too, I think. Will Phyrexia win? I don't think so based on the announced sets, but who knows?
They're actually going to cut the announced sets, and it's just going to be Phyrexia all will be 2, Phyrexia all will be 3,
Okay.
Phyrexia all will be 4. It's just Phyrexia from here on out.
Okay,
No.
that sounds like fun. Who would want that? Would any of you want that? All right.
Then we get Phyrexia mana cost cards all the time. And everybody loves
That'll be
to pay
real
life.
easy to balance. I don't know what you're talking about.
Life is a resource.
All right, so we have some more key art here.
If y'all wanna know
we're not
what
going to give
this-
you any more information
Yeah.
on the March of the Machine. However, in about half an hour, if we've timed this right, a little more than that if we're running early,
It's at 1:30.
at
whenever that
1:30,
happens.
there will be the inaugural March of Machine panel, right? And you might learn more then? I don't know.
So.
I definitely don't work with everyone on that, and couldn't tell you whether or not you'll learn something new, but I suspect you might. So you can check that out. If you want to read about these stories, go to mtgstory.com. If you found any of this interesting, you can kind of pick and choose. You can just get summaries of things you didn't like, or you can listen to us, the Vorthos Cast. So you can find us at the Vorthos Cast on Twitter. We are available wherever there are podcasts, basically. I don't know. I don't really listen to us, but I hope you do. If you want to learn more about Magic Story, my book, Magic the Gathering, The Visual Guide, just came out in December. It's up to date for everything through Brothers War and a little bit of Phyrexia All Will Be One. Definitely check that out. If you want to meet with any of us, if you want signings, we have some goodies and some giveaways. Meet with us just outside the stage over here. After our panel's done, we'll be out in a couple minutes, and we'll do any signings or meet and greets or anything you want to do then. But with that, usually how we close out our podcast is with final thoughts. Now, usually I talk about a very particular video game I love called Gigabash, which I promised them I wouldn't shout out here. So I won't talk about Gigabash, a kaiju fighting game that's excellent, but instead I will just say you all don't know what is coming. Like, it is going to be awesome. I'm going to be sitting over here to see what they actually reveal in half an hour or so, and I hope you all join us. So Lorelai, what about you?
I really can't wait for people to learn about March of the Machine. The set is great. The story is great. I'm really excited. But also, everyone, welcome to Philadelphia. For the folks who traveled in, this is my hometown. I hope you've had a good time this weekend. For locals, I'm from Bucks County. And I hope all you Sarah's little PogChamps out there have had a good weekend here at the event. There's been a lot of cool stuff happening, a lot of events, a lot of play space, a lot of Commander games.
It's been fun. We've been jamming a lot.
It's been a good time, and so I hope, basically, I just hope everyone's been having a good time and enjoying Magic and Magic Story in particular, obviously, and is excited for the things to come.
So Brian?
Yeah, I just hope everyone had a good time, and let's go Mirror Age to save the multiverse. Let's go.
My final thought is just that I've had a great time. It's been a wonderful weekend. It's awesome to hang out with the podcast. It's been great to meet a lot of our listeners. If you're out there and you listen to our podcast, I appreciate you immensely. You have no idea how much we appreciate you. I don't know what's happening next. No one will tell me, no matter how hard I try and convince them to give me secrets.
It's so much fun to watch you beg, though.
They won't tell me what's happening next. I'm sure the next story is going to be incredible. They have been for a while now. If you haven't read them, they are free on the website. Go read them. They're incredible. Please. But that's my final thought.
Yeah. My final thought is I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that the story team has ramped up to such a huge event for this kind of payoff, and I'm excited to see what comes in March of the Machine.
So thank you all for coming and listening. This has been the Vorthos Cast Live. And stop.
Perfect.